I think on the policy front, Defense Secretary is here. Well, nigh everything has been done. If not done, I can assure you, with him at the helm of affairs, and I've interacted with him very closely for last many months, if you bring a problem to him, he'll solve it on the policy front. So that's not an issue which is there, which is bugging us today. In terms of incentives, I strongly believe that while certain incentives at the top level in terms of what we do on business, what we already have, road tap, giving the credit, setting up corridors, setting up facilities, I think that also is very much in place. Coming back to where do we lack? Do we lack the capability? Now let me give you one figure which will probably put at ease the capability part. Leave alone the Indians who have gone, transcended the borders and started to set up the complexes in the world. In fact, if you take a look at top 10 companies, 6 of them will have Indian CEOs. But back home in this country, there are global capability centers which exceed 800 in number and employ close to 1.4 million top engineers in this country. That is 15 lakh engineers. And those 15 lakh engineers are actually saving more than $100 billion in research and development to the parent companies every year. So talking about the top level skill sets, I don't think there is any deficiency in this country. The real thing is, can we create an ecosystem for them to move to Indian companies rather than remaining in foreign-dominated companies? Coming back to the second part, which would be the requirement of skill sets. Now, if you are looking at a vibrant defense industrial base, you need engineers, which is what there are in global capability centers, but you also need 2 levels below. You need a supervisory level, and you also need skill sets at the ground level, which is the factory level workers. Now, if you look at these 2 areas, I think that's where the real void exists in the country today. If you take a look at top level engineers, I think if today, I'll give you some data as we move on, industrial data. But if you take a look at that, I think the problem is less acute. We also did signing up of a MOU, and MOU was converted into actionable plan. So we developed a curriculum for all the engineering students going through undergraduate engineering course in the country for defense technology syllabus. And from next semester onwards, or the next academic year onwards, 200 top colleges in the country would start running a degree in the degree engineering courses which will have defense technologies as a major. I think that would well nigh start to fill the requirement which is there at the managerial level, because one of the areas, system engineering, which was really not available in the country, would get addressed by that. But our problem does not end there, because engineers cannot be working on the shop floors all the time. Yet they do work in some areas, but not in all areas. So you need people who are working on the shop floor and also providing supervisory setup. 5 decades ago, this land, Chandigarh and Punjab, probably had the best skill sets available in the whole country. That was intrinsic to the people who were living out here. That was the kind of capability that was developed with wonderful ecosystem in cities like Ludhiana, Amritsar, Jalandhar, Fagwada. That complete belt was known for producing some of the remarkable products. If you talk to any army officer who has served in Punjab, both during 65, 71, even later, will tell you innumerable stories of having developed products in the field while in operations. This was the capability this state brought to the fore. And any product, any equipment which was lying off-road, was your Subedar Major or Subedar Saab would ensure that it is put on road in next 24 to 48 hours. That is the kind of capability existing in this. Somewhere down the line, I don't think that capabilities go away, it is part of the DNA, but somewhere that ecosystem went out and it was no longer so easily available. Now let me link this up to one more thing which is very close to my heart. While we talk about these skill sets, the critical part is the technology development. You can have the best working force in the world. If you cannot have a technology bank which you can develop and be on the forefront of technologies in the world, you will not find your rightful place. In fact, Vikram Sarabhai in 1960s made a mention that if India wants to find its rightful place in the Committee of Nations, we must be at the forefront of applying advanced technologies in the country. So how do we go about developing technologies? And that will be the key. And that is part of the skill set, because that skill set is the one which is going to bring that josh to developing what we call the breakthrough technologies. So the technology development are in three pockets. The first is called research and development, will remain a government function, at least government-supported function with DRDO, with CSIR, with labs, with academic institutions which are funded. The second is innovation. And I'll bring you back to the word which was so common in Punjab called jugaad. If you can refine the jugaad and make it into a product which is transformative in nature, that was innovation. Jugaad was meant to be one-time fix. But if you can convert it into an all-time fix, that is innovation. And that's what we needed. But the critical area which comes, and which is where the enterprising population of this state can really come up, is in what we call the breakthrough technologies. Now, breakthrough technologies do not need other than probably just changing the sentiment in the state. You can bring about that sentiment that if today you are able to bring something, I'll be able to help you to convert that into money in a reasonable time frame. And that is the kind of culture, that is the kind of transformational change which we need to bring if we want to see our nation what we are scoring at. Okay, so while this is there, people will talk about what is the market size in front of us. Already General Man has covered what we are producing, so I'll not touch upon that. Last year, our total production was 1,51,000 crores. Our budget, which was approximately $20 billion, our budget was 65 to 70, depending upon the exchange rate. This looks very small figure for a country which has got $4 trillion of economy. But if you take a look 20 years down the line and a growth trajectory which we are moving at, our budget increases, defense budget increases 9% year on year. So by 2047, this figure will be 8 times more than what it is existing today. And when you look at $400 billion of defense budget and defense production of $200 billion, it looks like a very big figure. That is the kind of market size which is lying in front of us. That is the plan we need to put into place today so that we can reach there. Short-term goals, we are all talking about 1,50,000 crores becoming 3 lakh crores. We can surely reach. It's only 18 to 20% growth. Last year, we grew close to 20%. Exports, 50,000 crores, well within the reach. Well within the reach. We were 25,000 crores last year. So all this is possible. All we need is to create that sentiment, that ecosystem which we call about, all around us. Everything else is in place. Of course, this will require setting up, because if you took a survey of 200 companies, SIDM did this job, everybody indicated a growth in defense and aerospace lying between 13 to 20% of increased manpower year on year. And that increased manpower will come if you are able to bring centers of excellence, skill centers, bringing this down to the, I would say, to the grassroots level. We should be able to do that job. And I'll end my talk by saying, and this is of course attributed to President of United States of America who changed the scene. He said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So time is for us to start dreaming of a vibrant defense industrial base with large amount of clusters sitting in Punjab, and I'm sure we'll be able to achieve it. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights on the evolving skill requirements of the defense sector and creating an ecosystem in nurturing future-ready talent. Skilling remains central to employment generation and inclusive growth. To emphasize on this more, may I now invite Ms. Alaknanda Dayal, Principal Secretary, Employment